Fall Guys is a new game published by Devolver Digital, which offers a ton of fun in its Battle Royale-esque gameplay. You start off with 60 hopefuls, and with each round, it goes down until the final round, which typically has between 4 and 12, but sometimes more people still fighting for the crown. My name is Taylor, and today we'll be ranking each map in Fall Guys to see which one will take home the crown. This is being written on August 7th, so if any new ones are added, they will not be included here. Also keep in mind this is a subjective list. It's the writer's personal enjoyment of all of the maps in the game. Number 25, Royal Fumble. This is a final stage and easily the weakest of the three, and the weakest in the entire game. The winner is decided by who has a tail when the timer ends, and it's pretty much just luck based. You could have a tail for 99% of the time, but someone could just grab it from you with 1 second left and you lose. A lot of this game is just randomness, but in my opinion this mode is just not fun and should be removed. Number 24, Perfect Match. This mode consists of tiles with fruit pictured on them while it's blinking on and off. You have to memorize what panel has a specific fruit and go for it if it's shown on the board. This mode is fun in theory, but it plays out pretty poorly. Most of the time, maybe only 2 or 3 people get eliminated, and there's way too much time to just look for what panel has the most amount of people and just go there. This mode has potential, but definitely needs to be reworked. Number 23, Tail Tag. This is literally just Royal Fumble, but with more people and more tails. The meta on this is just run in a circle under the slopes so no one sees you, and you will most likely move on. There isn't much more to say about this since we already talked about Royal Fumble, but this is definitely better than it since it isn't deciding the winner of the show. Number 22, Team Tail Tag. The final of the tail events, this one is definitely the best out of them and is the only mode that includes the green team. I don't really mind this mode, but like with the others, I just don't think it holds up well to the other events in the game because of how fun most are. There also seems to be a lot of inconsistency with this. Sometimes I can't grab a tail while being right on someone, but then someone grabs my tail while being pretty far away from me. I don't know if it's a glitch or lag, but it's just frustrating. Number 21, Hoarders. This mode has you trying to get the most amount of balls on your side of the stage. It would be higher if people played this with some strategy, but typically most teammates won't want to play any defense and will just keep jumping around aimlessly. You don't necessarily need a good team, you just need the right amount of luck with at least a couple of good players to play defense. Number 20, Egg Scramble. Clever puns aside, this mode has 3 teams all trying to get the most eggs in their basket, with golden eggs being worth 5. For some reason, when I play this, people on my own team love to grab me, causing me to drop the egg I was going to use to contribute to us winning. But besides that, there's nothing more satisfying than getting an egg in your basket at the last second to bring your team to victory. This mode is chaotic, but that's also what makes Fall Guys such a great game. Number 19, Jinx. I've seen a lot of people hate on Jinx, but I personally like it. It's like the classic playground game Infected, where you have to run away from the person who is infected, but anyone who gets tagged by them joins them. This time, however, you're on a team, and the last team with the non-jinxed person wins. I think this would be a really cool mode to have as its own thing, where you have 60 individuals and 1 jinxed, and the last one left wins the crown. It would be similar to Call of Duty's Infected mode. Number 18, Oopsy Daisy. Maybe I just like this mode because I'm really good at it, but before I explain why I like it, it's a mode that consists of 3 teams and a bunch of hoops that appear. When you jump through a hoop, you get a point. The top 2 teams at the end qualify. I think it does take some strategy with where you position yourself and how good you are at knowing different routes to jump through the hoops before other people. Number 17, Block Party. If you've ever seen Hole in the Wall, you may have been reminded of it by Block Party. Walls come at you and you have to avoid them by getting out of the way or jumping. I think this is a ton of fun, but I just think it's too easy. I've only ever lost once on it, and it was because someone hit into me at full speed. As long as you take your time, it'll be fun. It would be a lot more fun if it was just completely chaotic, maybe even having more people on it to make it more difficult to find safety. I would love to see an update to this soon to make it more difficult. But even without that, I still really like this mode. Number 16, Tiptoe. Maybe this one is a bit high, but it combines patience and chaos into a small map. You just have to be patient as to not just fall right off. But it's also chaotic when everyone is just pushing and grabbing each other onto the tile to see if it's real. The ending usually also goes really quick, which means you have to be ready to jump and dive, maybe even skip a tile to qualify. Number 15, DoorDash. No, not the food delivery service. DoorDash has a bunch of fake doors with only a couple real ones, and you have to just hope you go through the real one. This mode is just complete stupidity, as it has 60 people trying to go through the same door at once. But it's hilarious and a ton of fun. My strategy is to jump and dive just before it to give you less of a chance of getting stuck. Number 14. Fall Ball. Like with Jinx, I've seen a lot of hate for Fall Ball, and I used to hate it myself until I learned how to really play it. As long as you have competent teammates, which is a big if, and if someone who's okay with being the goalie, this game actually does take strategy. It's actually similar to Rocket League in a lot of ways, where you have to play the ball right and not always just hit it because it's near you. You want to get a good dive on it and make sure it goes forward. Also, is there anything better than making a clutch save or hitting the ball right past the other team's goalie? Number 13, Rock and Roll. Getting the ball past the set of obstacles is the easy part. The hard part is keeping your opponent's ball away from the goal. Usually at the end, it will seem like a stalemate. Neither ball is moving. But eventually, something gives and the ball starts racing downhill. I think this is the best team event and just beats out Fall Ball. Number 12, Seesaw. Seesaw would be higher on this list if it wasn't for the simpletons that have no idea what a seesaw or physics is and just blindly run around. It makes it really frustrating when you have to wait for a while and no one else is making any progress. What makes this map fun is when you're on a good pace, timing your jumps, and balancing yourself out to reach the finish line. Also, quick strategy tip, if you see a seesaw is steep, do not jump. Walk onto it and you have a better chance of keeping your balance. Number 11, Dizzy Heights. Dizzy Heights is what it sounds like. You keep jumping on these circular platforms that have a conveyor belt-like thing on it. To qualify, you need to be quick and take the best route you can while also keeping timing in mind. This isn't the hardest race to the finish, but certainly one of the most enjoyable. Number 10, Hit Parade. This has you starting off by trying to make it across cylinders, where if you fall, you will lose a few seconds. Then you move on to these revolving door type things, and then some wrecking balls, and it finishes with you climbing up a steep hill while avoiding these, things, whatever they're called. This race feels pretty quick, even if it isn't the shortest and is very varied. It's also really easy, but even with it being easy, it's still one of the best maps in the game. Number 9, Jump Club. This one is 100% biased why it's so high. As a kid, one of my favorite TV shows was Wipeout. One of my favorite games on it was when they would be on their own platform, jumping over a sweeping thing, trying to knock them off, with the top 6 or so people moving on. My friend used to have Wipeout 2 on the Kinect, and we used to play Wipeout on that all the time, and that happened to be one of the games. So when I found out something like that was in this game, I was very excited to try it out, and it did not disappoint. I would love for a 60-player version of this mode where it just keeps going until one person remains. That would be my favorite game mode if it ever happened. Number 8, Fall Mountain. Easily the second best final stage, Fall Mountain typically has around 10 people. At most I've had 20, which I won by the way. You maneuver around obstacles to get to the top and then grab the crown first. One mistake could cost you it all. This mode is really challenging to not mess up, but main criticism would be starting in the back gives you a huge disadvantage since every second counts. I wish they could fix it to make it so that no one would be in the back for this. There has also been a glitch where people would climb into the crown instead of just winning. While it hasn't happened to me, I would be raging if it did, and I hope it gets ironed out. Number 7, Gate Crash. This race requires a lot of skill as you have to get your timing down right to qualify. I easily qualify on this every time, as I've gotten used to the timing, and I always jump and dive over just in case the gate starts coming up. But it's more fun to go for a flawless run and get first place. The feeling of timing all your jumps through each gate perfectly is just amazing, and is why Gate Crash is this high. Number 6, Rollout. Rollout puts you and another contestant on multiple spinning platforms with different obstacles on them. Number 5, Fruit Chute. This is one of the more difficult races as it has you going up a steep hill with a conveyor belt going downward while logs roll down the middle and fruit gets shot out of cannons towards you. The best strategy is to go to the right or left and go around the bouncy things, but even that isn't a guaranteed win. This map takes some skill to be able to dodge out of the way of the fruit and reach the finish line. Number 4, TheWhirlygig. This map is just a ton of fun. There are a bunch of spinning things on circular platforms you have to traverse across, as well as spinning fans. Sometimes when you get hit, you just get launched forward and it could be beneficial to you. There's also the middle passage close to get to the finish line, which is one of the most difficult things to get past in the entire game. Number 3. Jump Showdown. It's literally just Jump Club, but harder, and for the crown. Not much else to say. Number 2. Hexagon. This arguably takes the most skill to win in all of Fall Guys. You have to keep moving on these hexagon platforms as to not fall. The last man standing wins it all. The best strategy is to jump from platform to platform if you can give yourself more time. You always want to avoid falling down multiple levels. One of my favorite parts of this is making a dive for a save. I've said this about a few other maps, but this would also be a fun one to have a bigger version of with more people. Number 1. Slime Climb. A lot of people don't like Slime Climb, but it is my favorite in the game. Usually with 30 people, only 6 or 7 people actually make it to the finish. If you make a couple of mistakes, it could be for you to fall in the slime and be eliminated. There are some really tough obstacles, like with the wall that comes out where you only have a split second to time your jump and get across. This and Hexagon are, in my opinion, the most skill-based levels in the entire game, but I would say I enjoy Slime Climb a bit more than Hexagon. So, that's the list. Did you agree, disagree? Let us know in the comments, but please keep it civil. There's no objectively right list. Let us know some ideas you have for maps in the game, and be sure to like the video, subscribe, and join our Discord. This has been Taylor with Game Domain.